Section 1. You wake up, your eyes slowly opening to the soft, blue light of your phone screen. You reach for it instinctively, and before you've even fully woken up, the floodgates of notifications open. Your phone buzzes with texts, emails, and social media alerts, each one demanding your attention. In the first few moments of your day, you're already hit with a flood of messages and demands. You haven't even stepped out of bed, yet you're already juggling a dozen different concerns, work, family, friends, and tasks waiting for your response. The demands of everyone else's world invade your personal space, and your morning is hijacked before it even begins. Does this sound like you? The moment your eyes open, the first thing you do is reach for your phone, and from that moment, your peace is gone. Instead of starting your day on your own terms, you're swept up in the chaos of other people's problems. You're pulled into a constant stream of tasks, emotions, and demands that leave you feeling overwhelmed and drained. Your morning sets the tone for the rest of your day, and the pattern is all too familiar. You're already reacting to the world, and it's taking a toll on your mental and emotional well-being. If this continues, your mornings, and your whole day, will be ruled by external forces. You'll feel rushed, distracted, and mentally fragmented. Instead of taking the time to plan and center yourself, you'll be reacting to notifications, emails, and messages as they come. This constant barrage of interruptions doesn't just affect your mornings, it leaks into your entire day. Whether it's a work deadline, an unresolved personal issue, or a lingering social obligation, you're constantly pulled in different directions, each demand eroding your focus and energy. Your time slips away, your productivity wanes, and your sense of self is overwhelmed by the endless pull of others. This isn't just a minor inconvenience, it's a serious problem that affects your energy, mental health, and ability to perform at your best. If you don't take control of your mornings, you'll find yourself stuck in a cycle of reactive living. You'll be constantly responding to the needs of others, never able to catch your breath or focus on your own priorities. The cost? Time lost, mental exhaustion, and a deep sense of frustration that builds up over time. You'll feel like your days are slipping through your fingers, and you're never able to get ahead of the chaos. But it doesn't have to be like this. You can take back control of your mornings, and ultimately your entire day, by setting clear boundaries. The key is to create a simple morning routine that protects your mental and emotional space. By setting boundaries with your phone, email, and notifications, you can reclaim your mornings and start your day from a place of calm and clarity, rather than stress and overwhelm. Imagine being able to wake up, take a deep breath, and start your day on your own terms, without being immediately hijacked by the demands of others. This lesson will show you exactly how to do that. We'll focus on how to build a morning boundary routine that helps you protect your time and energy. You'll learn how to put clear boundaries in place when it comes to your phone, email, and notifications, three of the biggest distractions in modern life. Once you have these boundaries in place, you'll be able to start your day centered, focused, and calm, instead of scattered and overwhelmed. Educational content inspired by classical Stoic texts. Not medical, psychological, financial, or legal advice. Now, let's take a step back. Have you ever stopped to think about the habit of reaching for your phone the moment you wake up? You might feel like it's harmless, even productive, but in reality, it's setting the tone for your entire day. The moment you check your phone, you're instantly reacting to the world. Whether it's an email from work, a message from a friend, or a social media update, your mental focus is diverted. Instead of starting the day grounded and in control, you're already on autopilot, letting external forces dictate your time and energy. It's no wonder that so many people feel mentally drained before they even get out of bed. This pattern doesn't just impact your mornings, it affects the rest of your day too. If you want steady Stoic focus lessons on emotional control, boundaries, and relationships every week, this is the channel for you. Stay with me until the very end, and while you're here, hit like, tap subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. First, we'll explore the idea that you need to check your phone immediately when you wake up. It's a habit that many people have, but it's one that contributes to the feeling of being overwhelmed. Next, we'll examine why responding to messages and emails first thing in the morning is actually counterproductive. Rather than setting the tone for a productive, intentional day, it pulls you into a reactive state. Then, we'll walk through a simple routine you can implement right away to help you create a mental space between waking up and diving into the world's demands. After that, we'll focus on practical tools that you can use to protect your mornings so you can start the day feeling in control. Finally, we'll talk about how to maintain these boundaries throughout the day, ensuring that you stay centered even as the world tries to pull you in 1,000 different directions. In a bit, we'll dive into a real-world scenario where these boundaries can make all the difference. Imagine a situation where you're about to start your day and, instead of being overwhelmed by your phone, you confidently set a boundary and begin your morning with clarity and focus. Stick with me, this routine could completely change how you approach your mornings and ultimately your entire day. Section 2. Now that you've started to recognize how reactive mornings can drain your energy, let's dive deeper into how to actually change this behavior. The first step in transforming your mornings is to challenge the belief that you need to check your phone immediately upon waking. This may sound counterintuitive, especially when we're so used to being constantly connected, but this habit is one of the biggest barriers to starting your day in a centered, grounded way. The truth is, when you check your phone first thing, you allow the outside world to take the lead. Whether it's emails from work, texts from friends, or social media notifications, you are instantly pulled into a sea of distractions. Your focus is hijacked before you even have the chance to set your own intentions for the day. It's easy to think that checking your messages is necessary. After all, you don't want to miss something important, right? But what happens is that you give up your mental space for the sake of other people's agendas. The consequences? You start the day feeling scattered and reactive instead of calm and focused. You may not even realize how much mental energy this takes, but it's significant. Here's why this happens. When you check your phone, your brain immediately begins processing a large amount of information, some of which may be stressful or demanding. Each new notification, whether it's a work email or a message about a social event, adds to your mental load. Your brain doesn't get a chance to ease into the day. It's thrust into work mode or response mode right away, making it harder to stay grounded. What's worse is that this becomes an automatic response, and soon, it's not just your mornings that are reactive. Throughout the day, you may find yourself constantly checking your phone or responding impulsively to messages, never fully present in the moment. It's like you've trained your brain to be on high alert for notifications, and the result is mental fatigue and a lack of focus. This is where boundaries come in. Setting a clear boundary around your phone use first thing in the morning helps break this automatic cycle. Instead of jumping right into the chaos, you create space to center yourself, allowing you to start the day with intention. When you don't give your phone the power to dictate your first moments, you begin to reclaim your mental space and can respond to the world, rather than react to it. To start this shift, here's a microscript you can use when your phone tempts you first thing in the morning. I will check my phone later, after I've taken time for myself. It may sound simple, but this phrase helps you set an internal boundary, reminding yourself that you are in control of when and how you engage with the outside world. By saying this, you create a mental space between you and your phone, ensuring that you don't immediately dive into your emails or texts. This small action may seem insignificant, but it's powerful in setting the tone for the rest of your day. Let's consider a practical example. Imagine this, it's 7 a.m. You wake up, your alarm goes off, and before you even sit up, your hand reaches for your phone on the nightstand. It's automatic at this point, a habit ingrained from months or even years of doing it. You glance at your notifications, and immediately, you see a work email that requires your attention. Then, a text from a friend about a weekend plan. Before you know it, your mind is spinning with tasks and responsibilities. But now, with your new boundary in place, you stop. You catch yourself before you open the email or check the text. Instead, you say to yourself, I will check my phone later, after I've taken time for myself. This is your first victory of the day. You don't let external demands hijack your mental space. You get out of bed, take a deep breath, and give yourself a few moments of peace before you dive into the world. By taking this small step, you've already shifted your mindset from reactive to intentional. Now, instead of scrambling to keep up with the world's demands, you take control of your time. After you've centered yourself, whether that's through a few moments of stillness, stretching, or focusing on your breath, you can check your phone and engage with messages from a place of calm, not urgency. This simple practice sets the tone for the rest of the day. Here's your first tiny action to implement today: leave your phone across the room from your bed at night. This small step removes the temptation to reach for your phone first thing in the morning. When your phone is not within arm's reach, you can create a moment of space between you and the external demands of the day. Instead of immediately checking emails or messages, you'll be forced to focus on yourself for a few moments. These few moments may seem small, but they make a huge difference in the long run. Let's take a moment now to practice this. I want you to pause for a second and close your eyes. Take a deep breath, inhaling slowly for a count of 4, hold for 4, and exhale for 4. Focus only on your breath for the next few moments, feeling the air move in and out of your lungs. As you breathe, imagine waking up tomorrow morning, reaching for your phone, and instead, catching yourself. You stop, take a deep breath, and choose to give yourself a moment of peace before engaging with the world. Feel that sense of control, that clarity as you begin your day. This simple act of breathing and being present is your first step toward reclaiming your mornings and your energy. It doesn't require a huge shift, just a few minutes of intentionality. And as you continue this practice over the coming days, you'll notice a shift in how you start your day. You'll begin each day more grounded, less rushed, and more in control of your time and energy. Hold on to this feeling of calm, because later in this lesson, we'll dive into how you can maintain this peace throughout the day. Imagine having this same sense of control, even when your work or personal life starts to pull you in multiple directions. We'll cover how to carry this energy forward, so you can stay grounded and focused, no matter what comes your way. Section 3. Now that you've begun to reclaim your morning by setting boundaries around your phone, let's move on to the next crucial part of your morning routine: managing your email and text messages. Like your phone, email is one of the biggest culprits that hijacks your mental space in the morning. You've likely experienced it before. You open your inbox and are immediately confronted with a flood of messages, some urgent, others not, but all demanding your attention. This sets the stage for a reactive mindset, and before you know it, you're in crisis mode, running from one email to the next, trying to put out fires before you even have a chance to settle into your day. The truth is, responding to emails or text messages first thing in the morning is a habit that keeps you in a state of reactivity. Instead of starting your day with intention, you're swept into a whirlwind of other people's needs and priorities. You might feel like you're being productive by responding quickly, but what you're really doing is giving up your mental space. When you jump right into emails or messages, your brain starts processing a flood of information, much of it unrelated to your immediate goals or needs. It's a surefire way to feel mentally overwhelmed and scattered, and it sets a negative tone for the rest of your day. The stakes here are high. If you don't break this habit, you'll find yourself constantly reacting to emails and texts, feeling like you're always playing catch-up. You'll miss out on the opportunity to center yourself and start your day in a calm, intentional way. Instead, you'll be pulled in multiple directions before you even have the chance to focus on your priorities. The cost of this? It affects your ability to focus, be productive, and maintain a sense of control over your day. You'll feel stressed, distracted, and overwhelmed, and eventually, that leads to burnout. Now, let's explore why responding to emails and texts first thing is such a drain on your energy. When you open your inbox, your brain is immediately flooded with information. Some of it is relevant to your work or personal life, but much of it is simply noise. Each new message requires attention, whether it's a quick reply, a task you need to address, or just something that triggers an emotional response. Your brain starts to process all this information before you've had a chance to fully wake up or decide how you want to approach the day. This reactive cycle is exhausting because it leaves you with little mental bandwidth to focus on what really matters. Instead of taking control of your day, you're reacting to whatever comes your way. What's worse is that the feeling of urgency that comes with constantly checking and responding to messages sets the tone for the entire day. You're constantly chasing after something or someone else's agenda, instead of being present and focused on your own goals. The key to breaking this cycle is simple: set boundaries around when and how you check and respond to emails and messages. This doesn't mean you ignore them altogether. Instead, it means you create space between waking up and diving into your inbox. You give yourself time to center yourself before engaging with the world. This small change can have a huge impact on your mental clarity, focus, and productivity. Here's a microscript to help you break the habit of diving straight into your inbox. I'll check my emails after I've set my intentions for the day. This simple sentence can act as a powerful mental boundary. When you catch yourself reaching for your phone or opening your laptop first thing, repeat this line to yourself. It's a reminder that you're in control, and you can decide when and how to engage with the outside world. By saying this, you're giving yourself permission to focus on what matters most to you first, before dealing with other people's demands. Let's look at a concrete example to make this more relatable. It's 7:30 a.m. You've just woken up, and after following your boundary around not checking your phone immediately, you grab your coffee and sit down at your desk. You're ready to begin your day. As you sip your coffee, you feel a sense of calm. Then, you remember that you need to review some important emails. But instead of opening your inbox right away, you stop and ask yourself, what are my priorities for today? You take a moment to set your intentions, perhaps by writing down a to-do list or visualizing the key tasks you want to accomplish. Only then do you open your email. What happens next? When you check your inbox, you do so from a place of clarity. You're not reacting to every message that pops up. Instead, you're approaching your emails with a calm, clear mind. You quickly prioritize what needs your attention first and delay the less urgent ones. This simple act of pausing before diving into your inbox allows you to respond with intention, not urgency. You've already set the tone for your day by deciding how you'll engage with the world, rather than letting the world decide for you. Here's your tiny action for today: set a 30-minute delay before checking your emails or messages in the morning. After you wake up, give yourself 30 minutes to center yourself, whether that's through a short meditation, a quick walk, or simply taking a few moments to reflect on what you want to achieve for the day. By delaying your email check-in, you're creating space to prioritize your own needs before addressing external demands. Let's pause for a moment and practice this shift together. I want you to take a deep breath with me. Inhale slowly through your nose for a count of 4, hold for 4, and exhale gently through your mouth for a count of 4. As you breathe, imagine yourself waking up tomorrow morning. Instead of immediately reaching for your phone, you decide to take 30 minutes for yourself. You sit quietly, set your intentions for the day, and create a mental plan for how you want to approach the tasks ahead. Feel that sense of calm in your body as you visualize this peaceful, intentional morning. Let that feeling sink in. It's the feeling of control, clarity, and focus that you're bringing into your day. Remember this moment of calm, because when we dive deeper into the next section, we'll discuss how to hold onto this centered energy throughout the rest of your day. You'll learn how to maintain your focus even when the world around you gets chaotic. Section 4. Now that you've started to set boundaries around your phone and email in the mornings, let's talk about the next crucial aspect of your day: how you engage with the world once you're up and moving. Often, the morning chaos is just the beginning. As the day unfolds, other distractions continue to pull you in. It could be work-related responsibilities, family obligations, or social media. The key challenge now is to create consistent, actionable boundaries that help you maintain the peace and mental space you've worked hard to establish. You've set yourself up for success, but how do you keep it that way as the demands of the day begin to surface? The next step in protecting your time and mental space is to establish clear boundaries around how you engage with the rest of your day. You've likely experienced moments where you feel pulled in 100 different directions: work emails, meetings, personal tasks, unexpected phone calls, all demanding your attention. It feels like you're constantly reacting, moving from one thing to the next without fully focusing on any one task. This constant state of doing, without truly being present, can leave you feeling drained and overwhelmed. The stakes are high here. If you don't take control of how you engage with the world around you, you'll remain stuck in that reactive mode. You'll continue to be pulled in every direction, leaving you with little to no energy for what truly matters. Instead of being present with your family, work, or even yourself, you'll find that you're always rushing, always on the move, but never quite accomplishing what you really want. The cost? It's not just the time lost to distractions, it's the mental energy that gets depleted, the constant stress that builds up, and the sense that you're running on empty without ever catching up. Here's why creating boundaries around your daily tasks and responsibilities is so important. It's about focusing your attention intentionally. When we let external demands control our time, we lose the ability to be fully present with the people and tasks that matter most. You may think that by constantly multitasking, you're getting more done, but in reality, multitasking only spreads your attention thin and diminishes the quality of your work. The key to staying focused is to create specific time blocks for different tasks and set clear limits on how much time you spend on each. When you control your schedule, rather than letting it control you, you give yourself the power to focus, complete tasks efficiently, and conserve your mental energy. This works because it taps into a fundamental principle of Stoicism: control over what we can control, and letting go of what we cannot. The ancient Stoics understood that we can't control the external world, but we can control how we respond to it. By setting boundaries around our time and energy, we ensure that we're responding thoughtfully and intentionally, rather than reacting impulsively to everything that comes our way. This is how we stay grounded in the midst of chaos. When you control your time, you start to live more intentionally. You create space for the things that matter most, whether that's spending time with loved ones, focusing on important work tasks, or simply taking a moment to reflect and recharge. By carving out time for these priorities, you not only protect your peace of mind, but you also become more productive and present in all areas of your life. Here's a microscript to use when you feel yourself being pulled into distractions. I choose to focus on what's important right now. This is a simple but powerful phrase that reinforces your intention to prioritize your time and energy. Whether it's a work meeting or a personal obligation, use this line as a reminder to stay focused on the task at hand. By saying this to yourself, you reinforce the idea that you are in control of how you spend your time. It helps you block out distractions and stay present in the moment. Imagine this scenario. It's 10 a.m., and you've just finished a productive morning, but now you're faced with an email inbox full of unread messages. Your phone starts buzzing with notifications. You know there's a to-do list waiting for you, but instead of diving into it, you decide to take a moment for yourself first. You pause, close your eyes for a second, and remind yourself, I choose to focus on what's important right now. You take a deep breath and decide to focus solely on the most important task for the next 30 minutes. You mute your notifications, shut down any distractions, and commit to staying present. As you work through your task, you notice that you're not distracted by the buzzing phone or the flood of messages. You feel clear-headed and productive, and before you know it, you've completed the task without feeling rushed or overwhelmed. You've just created a small boundary around your time, and it has made all the difference. Here's your tiny action for today. Set a 30-minute focus block for yourself, where you shut out all distractions, emails, phone calls, and notifications, and dedicate that time solely to one important task. Whether it's work, studying, or personal development, make it a point to focus completely on one thing at a time. Start with just 30 minutes, but see how much more you can accomplish when you give yourself that uninterrupted time. Now, let's pause and practice this together. Close your eyes for a moment, and imagine you're entering a task that demands your full attention. It could be a work project or something personal that you've been putting off. As you sit there, take a few deep breaths, in for 4 counts, hold for 4, and out for 4. Feel the calmness in your body as you bring your focus to this task. As you take another deep breath, remind yourself, I choose to focus on what's important right now. With this, you begin to focus all your energy on the task at hand, feeling grounded and fully present. Allow this feeling of presence to settle into your body. You are in control of this moment, and everything else can wait. Remember this sense of calm focus, because later, we'll explore how you can maintain this sense of control even when unexpected events or distractions pop up throughout the day. Imagine being able to stay centered, no matter how chaotic things get. We'll dive into that in just a bit, and it'll be a game changer for how you approach your day. Section 5. Now that we've covered the importance of boundaries with your phone, email, and the distractions that arise in the mornings, let's dive into the next critical piece of your mental toolkit: managing your emotional responses throughout the day. So far, you've taken proactive steps to guard your time and energy. But what about your emotional energy? Throughout the day, you'll encounter situations that trigger an emotional response, whether it's a difficult conversation at work, a misunderstanding with a friend, or just the daily frustrations that life inevitably throws your way. How you respond to these moments is key to maintaining your mental and emotional stability. It's one thing to create boundaries around your time, it's another to protect your peace when life tests you. The truth is, emotions are powerful forces that can take over your day if you let them. You've probably experienced those moments when someone says something that rubs you the wrong way, or a work issue sets your mind spinning, leaving you feeling frustrated, stressed, or even angry. In these moments, it's easy to react impulsively, letting your emotions drive your responses. You might snap at someone, stew over an issue, or spend hours ruminating on something that doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. This reactive emotional state is draining. The stakes are high. If you don't learn how to manage your emotional responses, your day will be controlled by every trigger that comes your way. Your focus will shift from being productive and present to dealing with the emotional aftermath of every reaction. Over time, this leads to burnout and a sense of powerlessness. You feel like you're constantly at the mercy of external events, and your emotional well-being becomes an afterthought. But it doesn't have to be this way. The key to staying emotionally grounded is to develop strategies that allow you to respond, not react. Why is emotional control so important? Simply put, your emotions are incredibly powerful, but they don't have to dictate your actions. Emotions like anger, frustration, or anxiety are natural responses, but they don't have to control your behavior. When you react impulsively to these emotions, it's like giving up your power. Your emotional state becomes the lens through which you see the world, and that lens distorts your perception. You end up overreacting, misinterpreting situations, or saying things you regret. By practicing emotional control, you create space between your feelings and your responses. This space allows you to choose how to react, rather than being driven by automatic emotional responses. It's like hitting pause before you speak or act, giving yourself the opportunity to step back and assess the situation with a clearer mind. This practice doesn't mean suppressing your emotions, it means acknowledging them, but not allowing them to control your actions. Think of it this way: emotional control is not about bottling up your feelings, it's about responding to them thoughtfully. You give yourself time to process your emotions and choose the best course of action, rather than reacting out of frustration or anger. This is where the power of Stoic philosophy comes in. The Stoics taught that while we can't control external events, we can control how we respond to them. By mastering your emotional responses, you regain control over your inner world. One of the most effective tools you can use when you feel triggered emotionally is a simple microscript. Here's a phrase to help you regain control when emotions start to rise. I am choosing how to respond to this situation. This sentence reminds you that you have the power to choose how you react, no matter what the external situation is. By repeating this line, you give yourself permission to step back and assess the situation before reacting. It's a powerful way to ground yourself in the present moment, instead of letting your emotions take the wheel. Imagine a situation at work. You're in a meeting, and a colleague makes a comment that feels dismissive or critical. Immediately, you feel a wave of frustration rising within you. You can feel your face heating up, and you're ready to snap back with a sharp response. But instead of reacting, you pause. You silently repeat to yourself, I am choosing how to respond to this situation. This small act of pausing gives you the space to process the emotion. Instead of responding with frustration or defensiveness, you take a deep breath and decide to respond calmly. You might say, I see your point, but I think we're approaching this differently. Let's discuss it further. By choosing a measured response, you maintain control over the situation and protect your emotional energy. You're not giving up your peace for the sake of a reactive emotional outburst. Here's your tiny action for today. Practice pausing before reacting in one emotional situation. Whether it's an interaction at work, a conversation with a family member, or even a small inconvenience, take a moment to pause before you respond. This pause can be as simple as taking a deep breath, counting to 3, or saying to yourself, I am choosing how to respond. It may seem like a small action, but the impact is significant. By creating this space between stimulus and response, you give yourself the power to respond thoughtfully and maintain control over your emotional state. Let's pause and practice this right now. Close your eyes for a moment and think about a situation where you typically feel emotionally triggered. It could be something at work, with a friend, or at home. Now, take a deep breath with me. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4, and exhale for 4. As you breathe, imagine yourself in that situation. Instead of reacting immediately, you take a pause. You remind yourself, I am choosing how to respond. Visualize yourself responding calmly, with intention. Feel the difference this pause makes in your body, how it shifts you from reactivity to thoughtful action. Now, let that feeling sink in. The more you practice this pause, the more natural it will become, and the easier it will be to maintain emotional control throughout the day. Remember this practice of pausing and choosing your response, because in the next section, we'll dive into how to deal with high-stress moments that require this kind of emotional control. By the end of this lesson, you'll have a full toolkit for staying calm and grounded, even when life throws you curveballs. Section 6. Now that you've learned how to set boundaries around your phone, email, and emotional responses, let's move on to the next essential step in protecting your mental energy, managing your time and tasks throughout the day. Time is one of your most valuable resources, and without boundaries around it, your day can easily become a whirlwind of tasks, responsibilities, and distractions. You might find yourself overwhelmed, running from one task to the next, and feeling like there's never enough time to accomplish what you really need to do. It's easy to get caught up in the rush of it all, but the key to maintaining your focus and energy is learning how to prioritize and protect your time. The problem isn't just the number of tasks on your to-do list, it's the way you approach them. If you don't set boundaries around how you manage your time, you risk being constantly pulled in different directions. You'll find yourself reacting to every new request or interruption, instead of staying focused on your most important priorities. You might feel like you're being productive, but in reality, you're just being busy. There's a big difference between doing a lot of things and doing the things that actually matter. The stakes here are significant. If you don't learn to manage your time and tasks effectively, you'll continue to feel overwhelmed and scattered. You might even find yourself procrastinating or avoiding important tasks because they feel too big or too overwhelming. The cost of this? You lose control over your day and your energy, which leads to increased stress, frustration, and burnout. Without boundaries around your time, your mental focus is constantly fragmented, and you're never fully present in any one task. The reason time management is so important is simple. When you don't manage your time, you let it manage you. The more you allow external demands and distractions to dictate how you spend your time, the less control you have over your day. This is where boundaries come in. When you establish clear guidelines for how you spend your time, you're taking back control. You decide what's important, and you prioritize it accordingly. Time management doesn't just mean scheduling every minute of your day, it's about being intentional with how you use your time. By creating blocks of focused time for your most important tasks, you protect yourself from being constantly pulled into other people's agendas. This is where the power of Stoicism comes in again. The Stoics taught that we should focus on what is within our control, and time is one of the things we have full control over. When we choose to prioritize our time and set boundaries around how we use it, we regain our sense of agency and calm. Here's the catch: when you're intentional with your time, you not only accomplish more, but you do so with greater ease. When you're constantly jumping from task to task without any focus, it creates mental clutter. But when you prioritize and stay focused, you create mental clarity. You know what needs to be done, and you approach it with a calm, clear mind. This is the power of time management and setting boundaries. When you start feeling overwhelmed by your to-do list, Here's a microscript you can use to regain control. I will focus on this task until it's done, then I will move on to the next. This simple phrase serves as a powerful reminder that you don't need to juggle everything at once. You can focus on one task at a time, finish it, and then move on to the next. This helps eliminate the temptation to multitask, which can dilute your focus and lead to lower productivity. By using this microscript, you create a mental boundary around your tasks, allowing you to focus fully on what's in front of you. Let's consider an example. It's 9:30 a.m., and you've just sat down at your desk to work. Your to-do list is long, and you're feeling the pressure of everything that needs to be done. Your phone starts buzzing with messages, emails, and reminders, but instead of reacting to each notification, you stop. You remind yourself, I will focus on this task until it's done, then I will move on to the next. You block off 30 minutes of focus time to work on your most important task. You mute your phone, close unnecessary tabs, and give yourself the space to work uninterrupted. As you focus, you realize that this is the first time all morning that you feel truly present. You're not thinking about the next task or worrying about what's coming after. You're in the moment, fully engaged with what you're doing. When the 30 minutes is up, you check your progress, feel a sense of accomplishment, and move on to the next task, knowing that you can approach it with the same focus. This simple practice of setting focus time blocks creates a sense of control and helps you avoid the mental overload that comes with trying to multitask or rush through your day. By setting these boundaries, you protect your mental space and stay grounded, no matter how busy the day gets. Here's your tiny action for today. Set aside 2 30-minute blocks of time where you'll focus solely on one important task. During these blocks, mute notifications, close unrelated tabs, and give your full attention to the task at hand. After 30 minutes, take a short break, then repeat with another task. This simple practice will help you gain control over your time and protect your mental energy throughout the day. Let's take a moment now to practice this technique. Close your eyes for a second and think about one task that you've been putting off. It could be something for work, a personal project, or even something you've been meaning to do for your well-being. Now, imagine yourself setting aside 30 minutes to focus solely on that task. You mute your phone, turn off distractions, and give yourself permission to focus. Feel the sense of calm and clarity as you immerse yourself in the task, knowing that you've carved out this time just for you. Breathe deeply and let that feeling of focus sink in. This practice of dedicating focus time to one task will not only increase your productivity but also allow you to approach your day with a sense of control. You're not just reacting to the demands of the world, you're choosing how to spend your time and energy. Remember this sense of control as we move into the next section. In the coming part, we'll explore how you can protect your time from interruptions, even when other people's demands start to creep in. This skill is essential for maintaining the boundaries you've set and ensuring that you stay focused and grounded, no matter what comes your way. Section 7. Now that you've established boundaries around your phone, email, emotional responses, and time, let's focus on a crucial element of your daily routine, managing interruptions. Even the most well-laid plans and boundaries can be derailed by unexpected interruptions. Whether it's a phone call, a colleague popping by your desk, or a family member needing something, distractions are inevitable. The key to maintaining your focus and peace is to create boundaries not just around your time, but also around the people and events that try to intrude. Learning how to manage interruptions effectively is essential if you want to stay grounded and focused, especially when life throws you curveballs. Interruptions can feel like the ultimate test of your ability to stay on track. You're in the middle of something important, and suddenly, someone's asking for your attention. Your mind is pulled away from the task at hand, and before you know it, you've lost your momentum. This constant cycle of interruption and distraction not only wastes your time but also drains your mental energy. The stakes here are high. If you don't learn how to manage interruptions, you'll end up feeling like you're never getting anything done. Your productivity drops, your focus weakens, and you become frustrated because no matter how hard you try, you can't seem to get ahead. The real cost of constant interruptions is not just the time lost. It's the mental energy you expend every time you switch focus. Studies show that it takes an average of 23 minutes to regain focus after an interruption. That's 23 minutes of your day that you can never get back. And this doesn't even account for the emotional toll it takes. When you're constantly distracted, you feel overwhelmed, like you're being pulled in 100 different directions. This fragmented focus not only prevents you from completing tasks effectively but also creates a sense of being out of control. So, why is it so difficult to manage interruptions? It comes down to human psychology. When we're interrupted, we don't just lose our train of thought, we also experience a shift in our emotional state. Often, we feel rushed, anxious, or irritated. This emotional reaction compounds the impact of the interruption, making it harder to regain focus. The more often we experience interruptions, the more our minds become conditioned to expect distractions, which further reduces our ability to stay focused. The good news is, there is a way to manage interruptions without letting them derail your day. The first step is to acknowledge that interruptions are inevitable, but your response to them is within your control. By creating clear boundaries and setting expectations with those around you, you can minimize the impact of interruptions on your focus. You don't have to allow every disruption to steal your attention or your peace of mind. The Stoic practice of controlling your responses applies perfectly here. The Stoics believed that while we can't control what happens to us, we can control how we respond. This idea is central to managing interruptions. Instead of reacting impulsively to every disruption, you can choose how you engage with it. When you create boundaries around your time and energy, you not only protect yourself from distractions but also regain control over how you allocate your attention. Here's a microscript to help you manage interruptions more effectively. I will respond to this when I've finished what I'm working on. This simple phrase empowers you to maintain control over your time and tasks. When someone interrupts you, you don't have to drop everything and react right away. Instead, you use this microscript to politely set a boundary and give yourself permission to stay focused. You're not being dismissive, but you're also not allowing the interruption to hijack your attention. Let's say you're working on a project, deeply focused on a task. Suddenly, a colleague stops by your desk to ask a question. Normally, this might derail your focus, and you'd find yourself pulled into a conversation, losing the momentum you've built. But this time, you stop yourself. You use your microscript, I will respond to this when I've finished what I'm working on. You politely acknowledge your colleague, but you set the expectation that you need to finish your current task first. By doing this, you're maintaining control over your time and attention. You don't allow the interruption to dictate your schedule. Once you've completed your task, you can address the question with a clearer mind, knowing you've given your full attention to both the task at hand and the interruption when the time is right. Your tiny action for today: set a rule to mute or ignore non-urgent interruptions for 30 minutes at a time. This could mean muting notifications, setting your phone to do not disturb mode, or putting up a sign if you're working in an office environment. Let those around you know that for the next 30 minutes, you're in focused work mode. By creating this small boundary, you protect your focus and minimize distractions. Let's take a moment to practice this skill. Close your eyes for a second and imagine yourself in the middle of a task. A colleague walks over to interrupt you with a question. Instead of reacting immediately, you pause. You take a deep breath, then say to yourself, I will respond to this when I've finished what I'm working on. Feel the calmness that washes over you as you set that boundary. You now have control over the situation, and you're able to continue your work without losing your focus or feeling anxious about the interruption. This practice helps you create mental space to prioritize your own needs without feeling guilty or overwhelmed by others' demands. Remember this feeling of control as we move into the next section. In the coming part, we'll explore how you can protect your boundaries from external stressors and even internal resistance. You'll learn how to stay firm in your commitment to managing your time and energy, especially when unexpected challenges arise. Section 8. Now that you've learned how to manage interruptions and protect your time and emotional energy, let's focus on something even more fundamental: how to sustain your boundaries throughout the day. We've discussed how to set boundaries around your phone, emails, and time, but what happens when external pressures continue to mount? Life doesn't always respect our carefully laid plans, and external demands, whether they come from work, family, or unexpected circumstances, can easily start to overwhelm you. In these moments, it's easy to feel like your boundaries are slipping, or that your well-intentioned efforts to maintain peace are falling apart. The truth is, setting boundaries is only the first step. The real challenge lies in maintaining them. No matter how well you prepare, life will always throw you curveballs, unexpected tasks, urgent messages, or conversations that demand your immediate attention. It's easy to think that you've mastered your boundaries when things are calm, but the real test comes when the pressure is on. If you don't learn how to protect your boundaries in high-stress situations, you'll find yourself slipping back into old habits. You'll give in to external pressures, and your mental, emotional, and physical well-being will once again take a back seat. The stakes here are high. Without the ability to maintain your boundaries when life gets overwhelming, you'll revert to a reactive state. Your sense of calm and control will evaporate, leaving you feeling scattered, anxious, and drained. The cost of this? You lose your peace of mind, your productivity drops, and you end up feeling like you're constantly being pushed around by other people's demands. Maintaining your boundaries, even when things get tough, is the key to staying focused, grounded, and in control of your time and energy. Why does maintaining boundaries in high-pressure moments matter so much? It comes down to the principle of self-regulation. When we're under stress, our ability to make clear, rational decisions diminishes. We're more likely to react impulsively, letting emotions or external pressures dictate our behavior. This is why it's so important to have practices in place that allow us to maintain control over our boundaries, especially when things are stressful. When you've set a boundary, whether it's not checking your phone immediately, taking time for yourself in the morning, or limiting interruptions from others, you're essentially setting a mental and emotional line in the sand. But boundaries are not just about saying no to others, they're also about saying yes to yourself. You're saying yes to your time, your peace, and your focus. In high-pressure situations, maintaining your boundaries means saying yes to your needs, even when it feels difficult. It means staying grounded in your values and priorities, instead of succumbing to the demands of the moment. The reason this works is simple: boundaries are an act of self-respect. The Stoics believed that we must cultivate a sense of inner strength that allows us to withstand external pressures without losing ourselves. When you maintain your boundaries, you are practicing self-discipline and self-respect, which are foundational to Stoic philosophy. You are choosing to protect your well-being, even when external circumstances push you to compromise. Here's a microscript that can help you maintain your boundaries in moments of high stress. I will stay true to my boundaries, no matter the pressure. This line serves as a reminder to yourself that your boundaries are not negotiable. It helps you stay focused on what matters most, even when external demands try to push you off course. By saying this to yourself, you reaffirm your commitment to maintaining your mental and emotional space, no matter how chaotic the situation around you becomes. Let's consider a real-life example. You're in the middle of a busy workday. You've set a boundary to avoid checking your email during your focused work blocks, but suddenly, you get an urgent email from a client. The email demands your immediate attention, and you can feel the pressure rising. You start to feel anxious, and you wonder if you should break your boundary to address the situation right away. But instead of reacting impulsively, you pause. You take a deep breath and remind yourself, I will stay true to my boundaries, no matter the pressure. You choose to stick to your work block for the next 30 minutes, knowing that this time is sacred for your productivity and mental clarity. You also remind yourself that you can address the client's email once your focused work time is over, and that doing so won't undermine the progress you've already made. By holding firm in your boundary, you maintain your focus, avoid unnecessary stress, and protect your peace of mind. Here's your tiny action for today: create a sacred time block in your schedule that is completely uninterrupted. During this time, avoid checking your phone, responding to emails, or attending to any urgent tasks. This block should be reserved solely for your most important work or self-care, and it should be non-negotiable. When you set this sacred time aside, you're taking the first step in maintaining your boundaries, even when life gets chaotic. Let's take a moment to practice staying firm in our boundaries. Close your eyes for a moment and think about a high-pressure situation that often causes you stress. This could be an urgent work task, a family obligation, or a situation that triggers your emotions. Now, take a deep breath with me. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4, and exhale for 4. As you breathe, picture yourself in that situation. You feel the pressure mounting, but you also feel the strength in your decision to stay true to your boundaries. You remind yourself, I will stay true to my boundaries, no matter the pressure. With this thought, you feel grounded and in control, knowing that you've made the right choice for your well-being. Feel the sense of empowerment that comes from maintaining your boundaries, even when things get tough. You are in control, and you've set the tone for a calm, focused, and productive day. Allow this feeling to sink in as you breathe deeply and acknowledge the strength it takes to stay true to your boundaries. Remember this feeling of empowerment, because in the next section, we'll dive into how to integrate all these practices into a seamless daily routine that supports your boundaries. We'll explore how you can continue to stay grounded and focused, even when life throws unexpected challenges your way. Section 9. Now that you've learned the tools for setting and maintaining your boundaries, let's walk through a real-life scenario where you can apply these practices under pressure. Life has a way of testing our boundaries, especially when we're feeling stressed or overwhelmed. In this section, we'll look at a situation where everything seems to be going wrong, and you'll have to rely on your new skills to maintain your focus, energy, and emotional control. By the end of this, you'll see how the tools you've learned so far can be applied in real time to turn a potentially chaotic situation into one where you remain grounded, focused, and in control. It's 2 p.m., and you're in the middle of a busy workday. You've been tackling a series of high-priority tasks, staying focused with your time blocks, and limiting interruptions. You've even set boundaries around your email and phone use, which has made a noticeable difference in your productivity. However, as you start a new project, you get an urgent call from your boss. They need you to address a problem with a client immediately. As soon as you hang up, you check your email, and there's a message from a colleague who needs your feedback on a report before the end of the day. At the same time, you notice a text from a family member about an important personal matter. Your mind starts racing, and you feel the pressure mounting. It's easy to feel like you need to drop everything and respond to each demand, but doing so will only overwhelm you. This is where the real test of your boundaries comes into play. With everything happening at once, it's tempting to give in to the pressure and jump from task to task. The key here is to use the skills you've already developed to stay in control of your time, emotional state, and energy. The first thing you do is pause. Instead of immediately reacting to the flood of tasks, you take a deep breath. You've learned to create mental space in moments like this, so you take a moment to center yourself. You remind yourself, I will stay true to my boundaries, no matter the pressure. The first action is to prioritize. You decide that the client issue is the highest priority, so you'll focus on that first. Instead of diving into emails, texts, and phone calls all at once, you set a 30-minute block of focused work to address the client issue. You mute your phone and close your email inbox to eliminate distractions, allowing yourself to dive into the task with complete focus. As you work, you remind yourself, I will focus on this task until it's done, then I will move on to the next. By the time you finish, you've addressed the client's needs, and you feel a sense of accomplishment. You didn't let the pressure or distractions pull you away from your priorities. Next, you move on to the colleague's email. You've already set aside 30 minutes for focused work, so you're able to give your full attention to the report. Rather than responding out of urgency or stress, you take your time to review the report carefully. You communicate your feedback clearly and efficiently, and then you move on. You've taken control of your time and energy, and it feels empowering. Finally, you address the personal text message from your family member. You've saved this for later in the afternoon, after you've completed your most pressing work tasks. By this point, you feel mentally clear, and you can respond to your family member with the same calm, collected energy that you've brought to your work. By the end of the day, you've handled each task with intention and focus. You didn't get overwhelmed by the chaos of competing demands. Instead of reacting to each pressure, you chose how to respond to each situation. As a result, you've managed your time effectively, preserved your emotional energy, and protected your mental space. This is the power of setting boundaries and maintaining control over your responses. You didn't let external pressures dictate how you spent your time or how you felt. You stayed focused, calm, and productive, even in the face of multiple distractions. By applying the techniques you've learned, such as setting focused word blocks, using microscripts, and taking intentional pauses, you've transformed a potentially chaotic situation into a successful, manageable day. As we wrap up this example, take a moment to reflect on how you would approach a similar situation in your own life. Imagine a stressful, overwhelming day, with competing demands on your time and energy. How would you apply the boundaries and techniques you've learned to stay grounded, focused, and in control? Take a deep breath now, and visualize yourself handling a high-pressure situation with calm and clarity. Picture yourself pausing before responding to an interruption. Visualize yourself prioritizing your tasks, setting boundaries, and staying focused on what matters most. Feel the sense of empowerment and control that comes from making intentional decisions about how you spend your time and energy. Section 10. As we come to the end of this lesson, let's take a moment to recap the core lessons we've covered and how you can apply them to create lasting change in your daily routine. Throughout this lesson, we've explored the importance of boundaries, how they help you protect your time, energy, and mental peace in the face of constant demands and distractions. Now, you have the tools you need to reclaim your mornings, stay focused during your day, and manage your emotional energy, no matter what life throws at you. The key takeaway from this lesson is simple: boundaries are essential for maintaining control over your time, emotions, and energy. By setting clear boundaries around your phone, emails, emotional responses, and time, you can stay focused, productive, and calm, no matter how chaotic your environment may be. It's not just about saying no to others, it's about saying yes to yourself. By creating mental space and setting priorities, you regain control over your day, so you can engage with the world on your own terms. First, we looked at how your mornings often start with distractions and how setting boundaries around your phone and emails can help protect your mental space. Then, we explored the importance of emotional control and how pausing before reacting to emotional triggers can help you stay centered. After that, we discussed how to manage your time effectively by creating focused work blocks and setting clear priorities. We also covered the impact of interruptions and how using microscripts can help you respond thoughtfully without allowing distractions to derail your day. Finally, we saw how to apply all these practices in a real-world scenario where you were able to stay focused, calm, and productive even when external pressures mounted. Now that you have a clear understanding of how to set and maintain your boundaries, you can move forward with confidence. You know that setting boundaries is not about being rigid or inflexible, it's about protecting your mental space so you can respond to the world thoughtfully, instead of reacting impulsively. By practicing these skills every day, you will start to feel more in control, more present, and more grounded. Do today's steps. Here are 3 practical steps you can take today to start integrating these boundaries into your life. Create a sacred time block of 30 minutes where you focus solely on one task without interruptions. Whether it's work, self-care, or personal development, use this time to give your full attention to the task at hand. Use a microscript when you feel overwhelmed by emotional triggers. The next time you feel the urge to react, pause and say to yourself, "I am choosing how to respond to this situation." This simple phrase will give you the space to respond thoughtfully instead of impulsively. Mute notifications for 30 minutes to focus on a single, important task. Whether it's answering emails or diving into a project, use this time to create mental space and increase your productivity. Watch next pointer. If this lesson resonated with you, next you'll want to watch the lesson on how to stay centered in high-stress situations, where we go deeper into how to manage stress and stay calm, even when everything around you feels chaotic. We'll discuss advanced techniques for maintaining emotional balance and mental clarity, no matter how intense the pressure. If you want a whole library of Stoic focus lessons on emotional control, boundaries, and relationships, this is what we do here every week. If you feel messages like this need to reach more people, hit like, tap subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments.